Hi, it's Scary. There's no specific location for A2 entities, but they can be found on any level. Perhaps their home is the level of fun, but I'll talk about the level itself later. The A2 entities look, talk, think, and behave exactly like people of different ages and genders. And their distinguishing feature may be the presence of a large number of wounds on the body, most often scratches on the face and hands. As a rule, they inhabit the bases of various organizations, in the backstage area. That's where they hide amongst the people. But there are also loners who travel to different levels. Their main ability that distinguishes A2 entities from humans is their ability to fully control their movements to other levels. An A2 entity will be able to predict that if they fall out of reality, which would be accidental or even unexpected, to predict and move to where it wants to go. For those who don't know, there's a large research organization behind the scenes called BIG. It's the largest research group that aims to find a way out. They've created a huge database of behind-the-scenes research, and they've also done all sorts of research into the nature of A2. Here are a few snippets of their research. Their bodies, the matter of which they are composed, perfectly penetrate the backstage in its matter. This explains their ability to pass freely through walls, floors, ceilings. Nor can they be naturally created entities, they're obviously artificially created. And here is where the points of view diverge. We don't know for sure if they were created by the same person who created the whole backstage world, or one of its inhabitants. In general, A2 entities are not structurally different from humans except for the aforementioned ability to control the fallout from reality. The only other thing to note is their impaired regeneration, most commonly in the form of scratches on their faces or hands that don't heal for months at a time. Or hands that don't heal for months or even years. This is a reliable way of calculating them. Keep a close eye on the appearance of your friends, as some of them may not be human. A2 entities can be dangerous, but not always. It's more likely that they can somehow accessing databases in some way, changing the information in a way that misleads the reader. However, there have been cases where the entity A2 has helped a person who got lost on a level, for example. But in spite of all, there have been documented murders of people by the A2 entities, and that's where I want to tell you about the level of fun. Any information about this place is a lie. This level is inhabited by sentient beings. They're called party people. They have access to the big database, and they change information about their habitat to attract new victims. I can tell you more about these monsters in the following video if you'd like. There's reason to think that A2 creatures have something to do with them. Here are some stories related to A2 entities. A video camera was found in the backstage area with some interesting footage. A certain Alex encountered an injured man in the labyrinths who offered to escort Alex to the exit. Well, in fact, he led Alex to a party animal, a resident of the fun level. If only the guy knew what was waiting for him, he would probably beg for death. There's also the famous story of how the A2 creature confessed its love to the girl, the explorer of the big group. It wanted to show the endless expanse of backstage, but something went wrong. The creature began to walk through walls with its lover, and that was it. For some reason it couldn't stop, and the pair fell endlessly through walls, rushing between levels. What happened to them, and where they are now, is unknown. Another story. One of the residents behind the scenes decided to capture A2 with a Tesla box. According to him, the creatures can pass through the backstage matter, but they can't penetrate the energy force field. Too late, the poor guy found out he was wrong. According to eyewitness accounts, the A2 creature wiped out several dozen before it escaped. To summarize what has been said before, I want to give some advice. Try not to provoke the creature, unless it is trying to attack you first, or do anything else to hurt you. If the person has a scratch on their face or hand, try to keep a low profile. If it's been there for too long, then it's an entity that's an entity. Never try to catch the entity, you won't be able to hold it, and then it may come back at you for it. It's not advisable to trust them completely. They can easily lead you into being trapped by even more dangerous entities, even if that A2 entity used to be your good friend, and even if that A2 entity was once a good friend of yours, and has remained one after revealing its nature, it can be dangerous at any time.